This episode is hosted by Kenneth Bonner, Reggie Smith, and Jacqueline Wells. Well, welcome to the When We Talk podcast. This is Kenneth Bonner,
Reggie Smith,
and Jackie Wells.
Today we want to talk about everything that's going on around us. This episode is focusing on what we are to do in times like these. As we all know, the coronavirus is a pandemic all across the world, and we have people all up in arms about it. I mean, it's to the point to where can't even find toilet tissue in the stores. Food is getting scarce and getting slim. We just have a bunch of people panicking. And so we just wanted to visit this topic just to kind of provide a little bit of insight on what's going on around us. So with that being said, one of you can go ahead and take over.
Go ahead, Jackie.
I think for me, initially, I really wasn't concerned like everybody else. As we watched the news, getting the different updates as far as, when the coronavirus started, to me, it was just something else that just happened. It didn't really become real for me until just recently when I started seeing how the numbers just drastically increased and how they started increasing overnight. And by the day, from state to state to country to country. And as I continue to, watch the news and just, stay abreast to as things begin to change, that's when when reality really set in. And then, at my job, we started putting in the precautionary measures for us to go 100% remote, which is something that we've never done before. And so, as this crisis begins to happen, and it starts to impact us all, I really start thinking about that. Okay, so now this is about to be my new norm. We're living in times right now where they're putting cities on lockdowns and they're making stipulations as far as you sheltering in place and not being able to move about your everyday normal life. And you don't have the normalcy that you used to have. So, as I start thinking about that, I have to start thinking about, okay, what type of preparations do I have in place for my family? And I think a lot of times when we dealing with crisis situations, a lot of people don't think about the reality of what's changing. They pretty much start moving out of their emotions. And that's why you see, the limited supply of toilet paper. That's why you see the grocery stores being empty. And people, trying to figure out, okay, so how am I going to pay or how am I going to stay home if my job gets shut down? And there's nothing really in place that we think about as humans when crisis situations strike, because we never think, oh, this could happen to me. So for the most part, I'm doing, what everybody else is doing at this point. I'm trying to think through the situation and ensure that I'm taking the right precautionary measures for me and my family while not trying to move out of emotion. Because I get it. This is a trying time for everybody. This is a thing that we're all going through as a nation. As everyone in the world. It's not just happening to the United States. It's happening everywhere. So I think that, it's just important to see how can I better place myself, not to just be prepared for my family, but how can I be better used to help the community?
I think that I don't have a lot of concern. It has raised my awareness to what's going on. And I think, and I don't operate in worry. I don't operate in fear. And I think that's because that's a military thing where we were always taught, no matter what branch you were in, how to operate logically and rationally during times that are chaotic, when chaos is around or whatever, because you always have to think with a leveled head. Because if you, like Jackie said, respond out of your emotion, you can get your shipmate or your comrade killed. So I think with this situation, I've gone into more of a protection mode because I now, not that I have it, but I'm more now, and I'm thinking about my loved ones. I'm thinking about being even more careful because it's not just about me. It never was, but now I have to even look more at my wife to make sure that I'm doing the necessary things so that I don't unknowingly bring us something home. But I think where what I've been struggling with and battling with over the last several days is a deep agitation, because this virus has exposed a lot of things. It's exposed a lot of things about where we are globally. It's exposed a lot of things where we are as a country. And I think it also exposed a lot of things as we are as a people. And I believe that I'm looking at it from an optics standpoint, because optics is everything as far as what you see. And you see more people operating out of fear, and as Jackie said, out of their emotions. And people are thinking irrationally. They're not thinking logically, and everything has gone to a fear factor. We're in a fear factor moment right now, where everybody's worried, they're crying, they're scared, they're confused, they're in disarray. And it's like, it also lets you know that where you're weak in, what areas of your life are you weak in. It's also exposed a great deal of selfishness. It's exposed the underlying fear that we have thought about or seen about in movies. And now with this epidemic and pandemic, now it's here. So what are you going to do? And I think the hardest thing is that I don't, even though, like I said, I don't operate from that MO, but I also have to make sure that I'm strong for everyone around me. Because in times like this, people are looking for people that's going to take the lead, that's going to be strong, that's going to be steadfast and unmovable. And you, like I said, optics is everything. So I don't operate in that, but I know that I have to be strong for those that are around me, that are near me, that are probably not strong in some areas. So that's where I'm at right now.
So for me, my point is this, or my take on it is this. I wasn't really concerned about it. I'm not, from that perspective of just going into fear and panic like everyone else. My perspective is I'm taking precautions for the people around me, because like you and Jackie, I want to make sure that I protect my family, I protect my children, and I protect my wife, as well as those people that I work with and work for. And there's a lot of people that have immune issues, that's in our country, that are more susceptible to getting it than those who are not. And now we hear that it affects older people, young people. Doesn't matter what your age is. It doesn't discriminate on who it affects. So for me, I just really think that I just want to be prepared for whatever comes. It's not a panic or a fear mode, because in reality, you can't control the day you leave this earth, but when you have situations like this, the smartest thing to do would be to take some type of precautions, whether that be, buying food so that you can, store up. You should be doing this anyway. It shouldn't just be when there's a pandemic. The other thing is, just the basic things that they're telling people to do, wash your hands for 20 seconds, or hand sanitizer, or you're out in public touching things. Don't touch your mouth, your nose, your eyes, because you can spread it that way. And in my head, when I heard these things, I felt like, isn't this what people do anyway? Shouldn't they be washing their hands? But then I thought about it, because I see people go in the bathroom every day and walk right out like it's nothing. It's just one of those things where I'm not going to be afraid to the point of, oh my God, I'm losing hope, or whatever the case. Like Reggie said, I feel like I have to be strong for my family and the people who look up to me for hope. And so with that being said, I just want to just tell everybody out there, don't break your neck and go nuts. The stores they do have food coming in. You have to get there early, obviously, just to make sure that you get enough food. But don't buy in panic. Just if you have to go every day and just buy piece by piece by piece to store up, do that. But for those Christians out there that are struggling in their faith and in their walk because of this situation, you have to remain hopeful in God, because now you have the whole world looking at you. And as Reggie said, there's a whole lot of people being exposed. And if we are the church, or the people that everyone looks up to, then we need to take a stand and continue to show the strong side of us, not downplaying the disease or whatever the case, or criticizing anybody for being in fear, I mean, you have to have some concerns, obviously, but don't let these concerns govern you or dictate everything you do to the point to where you just forget about the authority you have as a believer, and you just give in to the fear.
And I like how you said that too. First, I got two things. I want to go back to what Reggie said earlier when he talked about the exposure, even in humans, not so much as what we're seeing on TV through the government and through the nations on what's happening and how they're dealing with the crisis. He mentioned selfishness. And right now across social media, all you see is brawls in grocery stores and in different areas and places and spaces that we go to because people are out of panic. They're not thinking through the situation, but they're thinking out of panic, causing them to be in confrontation with other people, because they have 12 packs of toilet tissue, and you know what I'm saying? So you see the hoarding that's happening and all of these different things that's taking place. And it shows you where we are as a people in time of crisis, that we really are selfish. We don't think about the next person. We're always concerned about what we have. And, we have people that's elderly. I heard a story where a lady seen an elderly couple sitting in the car and they were just wondering, what am I going to do? And she happens to just go in the store, and she saw them and she went and asked them what it was that they needed. And she got their list and went into the store and did the shopping for them. But I say all of that to say that, in times of crises, it's almost like the mechanism is, the defense mechanism is, let me make sure me and mine is good. Let me, you buying up all the hand sanitizer. And like you said, Ken, this is stuff that we took for granted before the crisis came. Nobody was in a rush for hand sanitizer or Clorox Lysol cleaning wipes until they said, oh, you got to make sure you wash your hands for 20 minutes, make sure you have this and have that. But it's just interesting to just see, how people hoard and how people are so selfish to the point to where they don't care about the next person. They don't really care if you don't have, as long as my household is covered, I'm good. And then, when you talk about us being strong in our faith, let's look at that, because now the church doors are closed. They already mandated that you can't have more than 10 people gathered in the same place. And now that people are in the time of crisis, when they would usually run to the church during times as these, now they're having to figure out, okay, what do I do now? So as we always talked about in our previous shows, it's always about relationship. Having a relationship with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and ensuring that maybe during this time, he has a sheltering in place for a reason. And I'm always reminded, anytime I get to that place of uneasy or unsettling, I always go to the Word of God. I always go to God in prayer, just so that he can give me the strategies that I need for times such as these. And so God has already provided us different types of situations in the Word of God where crises took place. And I'm reminded of the story of Esther. She was put in a situation to where she was told about the massacre that was going to happen with her people by Haman. And what did she do? She took the necessary precautions that she needed, even though she knew that it could cost her her life. She still thought through what it was that she needed to do and was selfless and did what was needed to go before the king, even though she knows she could be put to death. So he has already given us strategies in place, and for us to be prepared for different crises that happen. But I just feel like people are so caught up in themselves. And I'm not saying that it's not wrong for you to make sure that you have for your family, but a lot of times we get that tunnel vision to where we're only looking at me, myself, and mine, and not considering our brothers, when we really shouldn't be storing up too much anyway, because all of the stuff that you're storing up, you probably won't need it. We have to stay hopeful and prayerful, knowing that even though we're in the midst of crises, we know that God is still in control. He's the same God that provided for them in the past. He's going to be the same God that provides for us today. So I just think it's important, to definitely seek the Lord and find out, okay, what does this mean for me and my family? What does this mean for the community that's around me? What are some different things that God is speaking in this time in my life for me to change, for me to get out of my normalcy of what I used to do? Maybe it's time for me to change up some things and to do some different things. And Reggie, I was looking at your Facebook post that you posted the other day, and you was talking about use this time wisely. You know, if you don't have a plan for your family and place, if you have something that you've been destined to do, read a book, you know, do something to help set you up for the future, and don't just sit still and just look at it day by day as just a crisis situation, but set yourself up for something greater. I didn't mean to go on and on and on. It's just interesting to see where we are today and how us as a people deal with crisis.
Well, we might have to end the show early because Jackie just basically took 85% of the things that I was going to say. So, okay, let me regroup. Let me say this, and I've continued to say this, and this is not just something I've just started saying over the last several days since the situation has broken out, but I've always said this: faith and fear does not mix. And I think if people are being selfish, now is a time to look at yourself in the mirror to find out where you stand. It's just like day and night does not mix. One has to go. When it's daytime and the night comes, the daylight has to go, and vice versa. Oil and water doesn't mix. No matter how much you try to pour it in there, it does not mix. Faith and fear does not mix. And I think this is the opportunity for those that are believers to be now, you're looked upon to be now, okay, where are you at now? Now the rubber has met the road. Where is your faith at? And I also think that it's now time to look at and really solidify what is your source. Because sometimes when you're in disarray and you're operating out of fear, operating out of your emotions, you tend to lose sight of the source, the gravity of the source. Who do you serve now? Because now, not only is the world looking at this epidemic and pandemic that's going on, now it's looking at those that say that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. 1,000 shall fall by one side, 10,000 by the right, but it shall not come by thee. If I'm on the outside looking in and you've been a Christian all your life, now I'm looking at you to see if you really are who you say that you are. Is the person that you serve really the person that's going to stand up during this time? So now it's time for us to be steadfast and unmovable. Now it's time for us to be the leaders that we continue to profess on social media, continue to profess on church every Sunday or every Wednesday or whatever day that you decide to worship. But my question is for those that are listening and whatever, is that if the church doors never open again, okay, just say, okay, we're going to restore everything, but we're never going to open the church doors again. This is when I think that you'll start to really see who has a relationship with the four walls and who has a relationship with the Lord. So my thing is that while the masses are out being selfish, this is a time now for you to be selfish and look at yourself to be like, okay, where am I really at? Because to be honest, this thing has shaken foundations, spiritual foundations. It's shaking our emotional foundation. It's shaking our financial foundation. And I'm still working because of the nature of my job still requires me to go in. And on my way thinking, I started just to recollect and go back and think over some things. And I was like, I got mad at myself because there's some things that I knew I should have been doing anyway. You understand what I'm saying? There's some things that I should have been taking the necessary precautions to make sure that if in the event of an earthquake or food shortage or whatever, and I didn't necessarily prepare and plan the way that I should have. So it's an eye opener from a number of different aspects. And my thing is that when we regroup, because we're going to get back to the point of where we are. We don't know when, but it's going to happen. This is the time right now where now you need to go back and be like, in the event, if something like this happens again, financially, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, whatever, I'm better prepared. But like Kenneth said, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. It doesn't matter how much hand sanitizer, how much Lysol, if you hide in bunkers, when it's your time, when that time stamp is here, you can't outrun that. But until that happens, until the Lord decides something else, we need to plan and prepare and be better emotionally in situations like this.
I would agree with you. I feel like we like I said, a few minutes ago, everybody that has a platform, you need to definitely show that platform you have, that you're showing people that we can pull through this as a nation, as a country, as a world. We can definitely pull through this. I think that the biggest issue is the selfishness. Anytime we get in crises or situations or whatever, we only think about ourselves. And I get that in some instances, depending on what the circumstances are. But in times like this, where we have our elderly community who need the help, who need the support, go next door, go check on them. Or if you're scared to go next door, just call them and check on them, see if they have any needs. I just really feel like, we are going to bounce back, like Reggie said, but I just feel like we as leaders, we have to do a better job, including myself, man. This does have you reevaluating a lot of things, like your preparedness, as Reggie said. And, I just want to make sure that going forward, if something like this happens, I want to make sure that I'm prepared for it, my family's prepared for it, and everybody should take those necessary steps, like you said. I just think that right now, we really need to, as a body of Christ, still find ways to get the message out. I mean, everybody's become a social media expert now. So you see everybody else giving their opinions. You can still reach people with prayers, through communication. Use your platforms as leaders. Use the social media platforms. Stream live, stream from your cell phone. You don't necessarily have to be in the building. And I think we talked about that on the show before. Yes, we have the building for the purposes of discipleship and community and bringing people together and teaching people how to live for Christ. But in times like this, where we're back to where people had to have homes in church and homes, use your social media platforms to still get the message out there. And right now, this country, this world, period, needs hope. They need to know that, we're believers in Jesus and we have the peace of God, which is why we're not panicking. They need to understand that peace. And we have an opportunity here to do some huge ministering to a lot of people. And I just don't want to see us leaders just fall back in panic and in fear and not take advantage of this moment to lead, where we're, instead of leading, we're following the fear of everybody and just the real side of us that we're desperate for God to change is coming out. And we're letting that overshadow all the righteousness we profess that we live. You get what I'm saying? So I really feel like we can do a better job. But on this note, what else do you all think that we can do as leaders to just kind of shift, this country from a fear factor to a factor to have hope, or to a place of having hope?
One of the things that I do watch a lot of news, especially during times of crises, and not, for one, just so that I can stay abreast, but two, those are my opportunities to pray. I look for, different things that's happening, especially in Israel. They've kind of reached they surpassed China with the amount of deaths that they've had through this pandemic. And so I look for opportunities to pray, not just through media, but also, like I said, technology is so broad right now. There are so many ways that we can stay in touch and stay connected, even though they have these rules and regulations in place as far as social distancing is concerned. But, again, I agree with you, Ken, that it's important that we continue to share the love of Christ. Also making sure that we use this time to ensure our loved ones are in the right place that they need to be and have the things that they need. And, just reassure that hope and bring that back to, wherever we see fear or wherever we see people going through anxiety. I think you can never a smile, what I'm saying? Just, showing your face to someone through FaceTime or through social media, just, using this time to see how can I make a difference in somebody else's life? Because it's, what you see right now is a lot of hopelessness. And we need to bring hope back to the people to let them be reassured that, yes, our light afflictions are only but for a moment. And if we continue to keep our eyes on Christ and keep our eyes on knowing that he's still in control of the situation, this too will pass. So, I just think that we should just continue to give the message of hope. Like you said, continue to share the love of Christ, not be selfish, but be selfless, and see how you can make a difference in somebody else's life during these times.
I think that, and as I posted on my Facebook, just to kind of take some things from that, this is a great opportunity for you to find yourself, to reevaluate, to recalibrate some things about yourself. Okay. Do those things that you haven't done before. And I posted on there, there are a lot of us who have had dreams and visions about starting things. You might not be able to start it right now financially, but you can get the ball rolling on a number of different things while we wait this situation out. If you been wanting to lose weight, great time for you to lose weight. If you wanted to start writing that book, great time for you to start writing that book. Business plan, marketing plan, or something. Keep your focus off of what's going on. Now, Jackie says she watches the news for information. I try to stay away from it as much as possible. If something lights up where it's an update, then I might click on and look at it, because I from the opposite side, and this is not the platform for it, I know what the news media does and what it portrays and what it's supposed to do, what it's not supposed to do. So my thing is, those things that you haven't been doing, this is a great opportunity to do it. I just believe that when we head back out into the world to go back to, and like Jackie said, our norms have now changed, but we go back to some of the things that we went back to. You should go back into this thing with a different mindset. You should go back into it with a different observation as far as your life and your family's life is concerned. And instead of operating out of fear, this is a great time to really start moving and operating out of love. You know, at the end of the day, it's all about love. Love for our fellow man, love for those people that we don't like. And like Jackie said, what I've been doing is that I've been FaceTiming my loved ones, that I've been calling, and I've just been doing check-ins. And I do that, but those are things that I should have been doing more, because tomorrow is not promised. So this is an opportunity. If you haven't prayed before, if you never opened up Bible, you don't know about faith or whatever else like that, this is a great time while we're in this hiatus, or we are in this slumber period right now, for you to really reevaluate those things about you. It's also a great time for you to now just make decisions. It's time to start making those tough calls as far as some things in your life, those things that you don't need, those things that you do need. And like I said before, because as we head back out, people's perspective is going to change. You know, there are some things that we should have been doing a long time ago, but now it's even more that we should be doing them now. And wherever your faith lie, this is a great time for you to strengthen it, and always and begin to rely on your source. Philippians 4:7 says, and the peace of God, which transcends or passes all understanding, will guard your heart and mind. So we need to start seeking peace in this moment, peace in our spirits, peace in our minds, peace in our souls, just peace in our overall being, because like love, that'll spread even faster than this coronavirus, and people will start to see the God that you serve, the person that you are, and it will begin to open up some eyes as we continue to progress through this troubling time.
Can I just say real quick? Definitely. Yeah, I know we're getting ready to end the show too, but also to our millennials, you know, I think it's important for them to take this a little bit more serious than they have been. You know, and I get that they, you know, a lot of the millennials right now, they're just reaching their peak. They're on spring break, and, you know, they're 21 and they're just now, you know, becoming young adults, and they're wanting to experience a lot of things. But I really think it's important as millennials that you really take this serious and really take heed to the precautionaries that's in place, because you're not invincible. And I get, you know, you want to party and you want to hang out with your friends, but a lot of times, you know, sometimes it's about really using wisdom in situations as these, and not going by your own indignation and thinking that it's okay for you to just continue to live like you normally been living. So just to our millennials, just think smart, think about your family, think about your grandparents, your parents, and, you know, those that you come in contact with. Just use wisdom as you move throughout your day to day, and just be careful.
Ooh. Kenneth, if you don't mind, can I say something real quick, Kenneth? Jackie, you said wisdom, and I was about to come in on that. And that's something that even us as younger people, and even to this day, a lot of us don't have. And that's wisdom. And wisdom is the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. The soundness of action or decision with regards to the application of experience. Today's millennials, just like we were Gen X, we didn't have a lot of experience. So this is a great time to not live recklessly or carelessly, but to line yourself up with people that you know have a sound mind. Line yourself up with people who know how to make it through the hard and tough times. This is a great time not for you to go out on your own and do your own thing. I talked to my son. He said, Dad, I got this. Dad, I got this. Dad, I got this. I'm like, all right, son, I know you got it, but there's some things that you might need to start, putting in your tool belt, because they're driven on the now. They just live in the moment. But this is a great time for the millennials. That's our children, our grandchildren, to really just sit down and just listen and just watch how granddad and grandma operate. Watch how your dad, your mom, or your aunt and uncle, how they operate during times like this, because these are great tools that you could put into your belt, because when something else happens, because it will, it's life, it's going to happen. You can now pull from your experience. So something, when the last time this happened, my mom, my dad, my aunt, uncle, grandma, granddad did this, and it'll be great that you could utilize this for what's to come, or what will come, or what may come later on down the line.
All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap up. So that was a great show. We pretty much covered a lot. Hopefully all of you all who are listening found something helpful in this, in your personal battle with fear and faith. My hope is that you continue to reach way down within and just continue to remain steadfast and unmovable. To everyone in the world that listens, whether you're in Uganda, Ireland, Canada, to our friends we met in Italy when we were over there in Rome, we are thinking of you all always, and we're keeping you in our prayers. Just in the people in the United States, our families, our friends, the people we work with, our coworkers, we're praying for all of you in hopes that God will continue to protect you and your family through this situation, and that you are not impacted greatly by it, and that you will continue to be able to take care of your family and meet the needs. And the last thing I want to say before I go is, my wife's birthday is tomorrow, so I just want to send a shout out to Shamitra. I love you. You're amazing. The greatest blessing in my life. So I just want to definitely say that. All right. Well,
yeah, she
until
is
next time.
pretty amazing.
Man, you just, you have those moments where, God blesses you and you're like, that's a blessing. And then you have those moments to like, wow, God, I don't deserve the blessing you give me, but you take it in and you just like look at it and you think about it and you're like, wow, we serve an amazing God.
Yes, we do.
So,
yeah.
All right. Well, until next time, keep your head up.
Keep God first.
And keep it moving.